The Bills absolutely dominated the Miami Dolphins once again. Now this moves the Bills to 12-1 against the Dolphins in the previous 13 meetings, and the Bills were all over the place. Defensively, shutting down Tyreek Hill. Offensively, James Cook running all over the field on the Miami Dolphins defense. I want to know, though, what was your reaction to Buffalo absolutely sweeping and taking care of the Miami Dolphins last night?
I made the mistake of picking the Dolphins. I should have known better. I mean, the Bills have dominated them for so long. They're 12-2 against them, and since Josh Allen started playing against them, and the Bills show that the AFC East division goes through Buffalo. They're 20-5 in the division since 2020. And they've won 2 weeks in a row now, so 2-0. They may be on the way to winning the division again. I picked the Jets to win it, but the way they played last week, my God, looks like same old Jets. So looks like Buffalo is kind of back in control. They made a statement last night. James Cook, 3 TDs, 2 interceptions by Janmarius Ingram. Nice to see somebody besides Josh Allen scoring a rushing TD with Cook scoring a couple there on the ground. Allen suffered a left-hand injury from rushing TD last week, so I think they didn't really want him running the ball that much this time. He only had 2 carries for 2 yards, so I think that they want him to take it easy back there and not hurt himself too much this early in the season. Cook scored on the first drive of the game after Ingram's interception on a 17-yard pass from Allen. Then he had a 1-yard rushing score after Ty Johnson caught a beautiful pass from Allen, who was scrambling on the right-hand side. That was the biggest play of the game for Allen, who really was pretty pedestrian on his passing, right? He was 13 for 19 for 139 yards and 1 TD. That's unlike Josh Allen. They're favoring the run this time around. I think they think their wide receiver corps maybe not so great. They want to focus on the run and bring those guys along slowly. So Cook scored on that first drive of the game, and then they had the second 1-yard rushing score and his second PTD. Then he had a 49-yard run. He was untouched all the way to the end zone by Miami. The Bills were up 24-7. It was over. Cook had 11 rushes for 78 yards, 1 reception. Joe Brady's run first. That's what it looks like, and it seems to work pretty well. It didn't work so well last week in the first half. They got down 17-3, but yesterday they were hot. They were the first half of the game. They were killing the Dolphins. The Bills, they've got quite a few new players, the Bills, but it shows they can score points. The surprise performance for me in the game was Ingram, who would have been a scratch if Dwayne Smoot wasn't injured last week. He played in the dime package after Javon Johnson was injured his forearm. Ingram was undrafted from the University of Buffalo, interestingly enough. He's been on the practice squad player for the last 2 seasons. Looks like he'll get more playing time the way he played last night. One of his interceptions was a pick six. I think the pivotal play when the Bills were up 10-7 is when Allen threw that 33-yard pass on the run to Ty Johnson to the 1-yard line. That was a great play. And I mentioned the Bills are 20-5 against the Dolphins. Against the division since 2020. Allen's record against the Dolphins, again, 12-2. 5th straight win over the Dolphins. Defense looks good against the pass. 0 for 4 on passes of 15 yards, 2 of 8 on passes of 10 yards. And last week, Kyler Murray was 0 of 6 on 10-yard throws. So even though they lost some people on defense in the back and the safeties and cornerbacks last year, they seem to have made up for it nicely and are playing well.
Absolutely. I think right now, I think a lot of people, including maybe us, have maybe undervalued and sold all of our stock on the Bills way too early. Could it be that when we took a look at their losses, that they were aging players, and now they went from being very good on the Bills to now just being okay elsewhere. Maybe that's what we're looking. Aging good players on the Bills who just became aging players at all. But there are two parts to this. There's the Bills side and then there's the Dolphins side, because I do think both need to be highlighted. The first one would be, what the hell are the Dolphins doing on defense? You couldn't stop James Cook. You couldn't bring Josh Allen down. You could not pressure him enough to make him make mistakes. This is a guy who, since coming into the league, has the most interceptions. He is or at least has the most turnovers. Josh Allen is turnover prone. He's the modern-day Brett Favre, and the Dolphins could do nothing to slow him down. There was one fumbled snap on a 3rd and 1 with about 2:10 left in the first quarter, but Josh Allen, under this new Joe Brady scheme, has been incredible. And yes, while it may not look like the Josh Allen of old underneath Ken Dorsey, I do think this is a Buffalo Bills team, a new Buffalo Bills team, and this is the new Josh Allen. Because since Ken Dorsey got fired and Joe Brady came in as the OC, the Bills are 9-2, including the playoffs. But just look at the change of how the offense is run. Rush percentage since Joe Brady became the offense coordinator, 52.3%. Rushes per game, 35.5. Both of those are first within that time frame. Rushing yards per game, nearly 150. That's third. Rushing touchdowns, 17. That's third. And that also includes the playoffs as well. So this is a new Buffalo Bills team that's not going Superman Josh Allen, which honestly may be the best thing for him because it reduces the chance of having turnovers, just like with Dak Prescott. If Dak throws it 35 or more times, the chances he's going to perform poorly, his turnovers are going to increase, and the team may end up losing is significantly higher than if you could actually have some sort of a run game. That's why this year it may look a little bit different than previous Cowboy years, because you have Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott and now Dalvin Cook as the Cowboys running backs. But the Bills capitalized on defense. That's really where this game showed itself, that the Bills' defense is better than what we thought it was, especially losing Matt Milano literally right before the season started, because guess what? Out of their 24 points at halftime, 17 of those came off 2 interceptions and a turnover on downs. So the Bills were able to turn turnovers into touchdowns, which is the most effective way of playing defense, keeping the other team out of the end zone, which, by the way, they did a pretty good job at that in this game. They also shut down Tyreek Hill. I think the number for Tyreek Hill was 3 catches for 24 yards on 6 targets. And I think basically every single one of those catches was some sort of dink and dunk straight to him. No deep shots. They took the deep shot away. Jalen Waddle, largely ineffective. The Dolphins were focusing heavy on the run. They're a big motion team. That's their big thing. But switching to the Miami Dolphins side, and we are going to talk about Tua and his concussion in the very next topic, but when it comes to performance, Tua was not good. He just wasn't. His interceptions, yes, the first one you might, and we're going to bring it up right now. The first one may not be his fault, but it was actually thrown backwards. So the chance that it's broken up actually is pretty high. This second one is a complete overthrow to Robbie Chosen. He's changed his name 3 times. I think it's Robbie Chosen this time around. That's an overthrow. That's way over his head. And this one, he tried to get it out of bounds, and instead, number 46, I believe, was that Benford? No, it's not Benford. That might be, what's his name? That is Ingram. He returned that for a touchdown. But these interceptions are not great. They're not good at all. They're actually kind of bad. This second one, overthrow. The first one, you may not blame him for. But this very last one, this is something that if it were any other mid-tier quarterback, we would be calling him absolute garbage for. And this is a quarterback that's getting paid $53.1 million a year to perform like this. But I can't say I'm surprised. I picked the Bills because history says, and especially Mike McDaniel's history says, against winning teams, this is the number. The last 12 games, he's a horrible coach. He can't coach defense. They get torched on defense, and offensively, they're shut down. He has 7 losses of 20-plus points. He's getting blown out. So, and that's 7 out of 11 losses. That's a significant percentage.
Yeah, and he's lost 10 and 11 games against the Bills. Or the Dolphins have lost 10 of the last 11 games against the Bills. Eventually lost Tua for an undetermined amount of time. We'll talk about the concussion in our next topic. Both weeks, the Dolphins' offense is poor in the first half. 2 interceptions when Tua targeted receivers he's not used to throwing to, and Grant DuBois and Robbie Chosen. Achane was the only really bright spot with 96 yards, 22 on 22 carries and 1 TD. The stats: Tua 2 rushes, 17 yards, 17 of 25, 145 yards, 1 TD, 2 interceptions. Skylar Thompson came in when the game was pretty much over, really.
Yeah, it was over.
Yeah, he had 1 rush for 4 yards. He was 8 of 18 for 80 yards. Achane, 22 of 86. 7 receptions for 69 yards and 1 TD. He was the star of the game. Tyreek Hill, I mean, come on, you got to have a better offensive scheme than that. Find a way to get him open so he can do something. He's your best player. He only had, as you said, 3 receptions for 24 yards, 1 rush for 12 yards. Jalen Waddle did nothing, too. He was 1 rush for 4 yards and 4 receptions for 41. Jonnu Smith was the big pass catcher with 6 receptions for 53 yards. On the Bills, Allen, as I said, they didn't let him run it, and that was the smart move. He was and they didn't let him pass it much either. 13 of 19, 139 and 1 TD. Shakir had 1 rush for 2 yards, 5 receptions for 54. Johnson, who had the big play of the game, as I mentioned, 1 reception for 33 yards. And Cook was their guy on the ground, 11 rushes, 78 yards, 1 reception for 17 yards, and 3 TDs. Looked like Saquon Barkley last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think he looked absolutely incredible. And that first one, the blitz pickup on the left side, able to identify the man coverage using the motion and then simply dishing it off immediately to James Cook, that's called good awareness. That's called good pre-snap motion. That's identifying a defense. All things Josh Allen is generally pretty good at. So I can't say that I'm shocked that the Bills absolutely dominated, because that's expected when Tua and the Dolphins have a history of not being able to beat Josh Allen, or in this case, any winning team. So, I mean, what am I don't know what to take out of both of these teams. Yes, did Tua play poorly before the concussion, and did the offense look extremely slow? Yes. Did the defense absolutely get torched by James Cook on the ground? Yes. Did the Bills' defense, though? Did Achane also torch the Bills' defense? Yes, he did. But I also want to highlight this, because this blew my mind. There was a Mike McCarthy moment in Mike McDaniel. Ending the first half, the clock's running, and they have 3 timeouts, and they're driving, and they call their first timeout with 32 seconds left. I think that drive started well before the 2-minute warning, and then as the 2-minute warning passed, the clock kept ticking and ticking and ticking. That's bad clock management. I'm confused. Were they trying to score a touchdown and not give the Bills much time? Because I think the Bills had 2 timeouts or 1 timeout left. But I mean, if that's what your plan is, that can't be what you're thinking about, because they're going to get the ball back anyway. But besides the fact, you can run it down as far as you want, but you want to give yourself an opportunity to keep driving, keep the clock going to score a touchdown. But yet, time was coming off, and that means that if you don't get a lot of yards, you're going to need to be taking deep shots. You're going to need to be going quick out routes, and, the Bills made the mistake last time when we're playing the Chiefs with that bracket coverage. They would be playing that. So I think Mike McDaniel had a weird, bad clock management moment. You got to be out there calling timeout, leaving yourself a lot of room in case you are in bounds. Instead, you had 32 seconds and about 40 yards to work with. That's bad clock management.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot right now, but I do think
the Dolphins fans, was a nightmare. The game was a nightmare.
They're all around, and I do think that this game, unless they go out and people are saying get Ryan Tannehill back in the building, there's a reason why Will Levis ended Ryan Tannehill's tenure with the Titans. And we're talking about Will Levis, who, by the way, may be on his way out this offseason if they draft a quarterback. But you might want to bring him in, people are saying, because there's really no other option. It's Skylar Thompson.
They say that McDaniel says
Tim Boyle's on the practice squad.
McDaniel says he has all the confidence in the world in Skylar Thompson. When he started as a rookie, won an elimination game for them.
Yeah,
he gave
played
the Bills
it close against Josh Allen in the playoffs.
He played him close against Josh Allen in the playoffs, so they're going to give him a shot, I'm sure.
I think, unfortunately for Dolphins fans, there is a very high likelihood that your season is essentially over, because I can't see, and we're going to talk about it in the next topic, I can't see Tua coming back.
Really?
medically, I think it might be a bad idea. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.